actually. You'll see.
Oh, are you going to put
Okay,
something on the screen?
we got it. We're here. So we're here on our 23rd podcast, which is this Jocelyn may be the best of the best, because both of us are with one of the neatest guys in the world, a good friend of mine who has literally helped change my life. I mean, it sounds goofy, but it's real. So Ben Wisch is the Bill Belichick, the Nick Saban, the Michael Jackson of the yoga world. I mean, he is the man. I mean, if you said who in New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania is the best yoga teacher, I mean, there may be people that are close to him, but he's got the it factor, the secret recipe, and he brings more than just yoga to the mat. He is an amazing musical producer who's won a Grammy. And so a big part of his classes are blended, not just out of the blue. I mean, he spends hours and hours and hours in this gifted presentation, and he's changed lives. So Ben was my yoga teacher, who actually was the wise guy that allowed me to become certified, which is his only blemish. But anyway, Ben Wisch is here today from Rhode Island with my great co-host, the incredible Yogi. I mean, Jocelyn's got a practice that is, you should see her Trikonasana. I mean, yeah. She's like,
I don't even know what that is, actually.
Why? So anyway, I'll hand it over to my co-host, Jocelyn. Ben.
So Ben, what is a quote that comes to mind that has actually made a change for you in your life, has helped you really connect with that as words to live by?
What is a quote that's really changed my perspective? It's not how far you go, it's how you go far. And that's attributed to my teacher, one of my teachers, Todd Norian. And I quote him all the time.
So say it again. It's not how far you go.
It's not how far you go. It's how you go far.
And Jocelyn, for a year, Ben would say things like this, and I would jot down everything. and at the end, I presented him with a series of about 300 quotes that many I've stolen and reframed. I love that.
Yeah.
So I got one for you. Or Jocelyn, do you want to keep going?
Well, I just want to ask, is there something that you can connect that to that that occurred in your life that made that so meaningful to you?
No, there's no specific event that happened in my life. Really, what that quote says to me is it's all about your perspective. It's all about how you're seeing things, the lens you're looking through in the world. And certainly right now in this chapter, which is very surreal and unusual and different, and for many people scary and fear invoking, we have a choice of how we respond to it. It's really up to us. And so it doesn't really matter how far you get, but it's the attitude you choose on the path that you're on. So I feel like we're being given an incredible chance here in this very unprecedented season of our lives to kind of bring things back down, rebuild from scratch, with the opportunity to really take some time and examine how to choose our priorities and what's most important. And before we kind of wrap ourselves back up in the rhythm and the chaos and the overdoing and overwhelmingness of our full lives, which I think we're all guilty of doing, we're being forced to slow down, recalibrate, realign, and rebuild from scratch something different, something that's more life-affirming, supportive of living a fuller life, and also being more interconnected and connected with our friends and our families. And that's one of the things that's happening in this time, is people are really reaching out to connect, obviously differently than we're used to doing, but realizing that that's an essential component of what makes life so rich and so valuable.
So what has this time taught you that you want to change in your life, or what changes you want to bring into your life?
It's a good question. I mean, the first month was to me was tumultuous, was chaotic. I don't do well with change. I fight it. I resist it. I try to wish it differently. So the first month, from mid-March to mid-April or so, I'm scattered about, and I basically moved up to Rhode Island, which is where Denise, my partner and love, has a house. And so I moved in here. I brought up my musical equipment. I set up a little recording studio here, not really knowing how long I'd be here or what the future would look like. And after things settled down, after about 4 or 5 weeks, I realized, wow, this is a chance. This is a chance to begin again. Now, yes, of course, I was worried about finances and whatever, all the worries that all of us share at this point. But I realized there's a lesson, there's a teaching, there is a gem in this, there's a treasure to be found. It's hidden underneath the worry and the fear and the anxiety. But I mean, this is sort of the tantric viewpoint in yoga, where everything is happening, everything without exception is happening for your own awakening. So if that's the subscription that you choose, which I do, then even this pandemic and this quarantine is happening for a very powerful reason. And again, a lot of us are fighting it and resisting it and hoping it goes away really fast. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not. So while we're in the, sitting in the unknown and in the mystery of it, it's like, well, maybe there's something to be gained, learned. And this week in my yoga classes, I'm using the theme of nature's intelligence. You look out at the trees and you listen to the birds and you watch the winds and the seas and the waves, and you can hear them speaking, offering these this great wisdom that reassures us, you're exactly where you need to be. It's okay. We've been here for ages and ages, and we've learned. Dig deep roots, get grounded, get earthy, get yourself into the soil, be refreshed by the sun and the wind and the air. All the natural elements are out there, sort of screaming. Don't worry. This isn't the first, nor it will be the last time that we're being thrown upside down, thrown into a whirlwind, a maelstrom of, oh my God, what's happening? I believe, the practices that we choose to do in our own lives that we can come back to here, the practices of yoga and the practices of meditation, the practices of compassion and empathy and forgiveness. We can return to these sort of essential, basic virtues, human virtues, and realize these are what's most important. All this other external stuff is going to change. It's going to shift. I'm going on and on, so I hope I answered your.
No, it's a great answer.
You go on beautifully, and remember in the beginning when I said this is the greatest yoga teacher, because people just sit in awe, and these words, they're not words. These messages come from, we don't know where, but he's the vessel.
They come from the nature. They come from the trees and the birds. Listening.
Well, the one thing, like as a yoga teacher, I know one of the things that you profess is that you're trying to teach mindfulness, that you're all about the breath and meditation. This morning I heard a great, great quote. Live life like you're in an overtime game. So you've seen a regular basketball game. Shots go up in the first quarter. I missed one. Come on, Larry, pull back, run back. Second quarter. I dribbled through my legs. I lost the ball. All of a sudden, it's like fourth quarter. Like the game's on the edge. And everyone's like, oh, make sure. Then it goes to freaking overtime. And every possession counts. We play it like it's for real. So during this COVID-19 gift, we get to heighten our awareness, I believe, actually become aware that when I say to you, Ben, I'll see you later, I might not see you later. And therefore, to live life like it's an overtime game is what you've professed day in and day out on the mat. How does that resonate with you?
Well, I mean, when you say mindfulness, what that brings to mind for me is, can you immerse yourself in this moment? Can you be here fully now? We spend way too much time projecting and predicting and worrying and analyzing. And of course, you know, we're all fascinated by the data that's constantly being brought to us through the media and this percentage of this. And it's like, oh my God. But life's actually happening. While this is going on, life is happening. This counts. This is part of the game. This is part of the overtime. It's like you're missing out on an opportunity. There's something incredible, beautiful, exquisite in this moment. Not in what's going to come later, if it comes, when it comes, and what it looks like. It looks like this.
Yeah.
So this is a practice of understanding the universe works in mysterious ways. And right now, it's thrown us a deep curveball. And we're scratching our heads going, wow, this is unprecedented. I've never experienced anything like this before. Of course, if you talk to people in their 80s and 90s, they'll say, how about the Great Depression? How about World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War? Those were difficult times. This is another opportunity for people to connect and come together and kind of dig back into their hearts and go, our humanness, our ability to be connected and deeply immersed in the present moment is so rich and so much more valuable than what's not here yet or what's already passed.
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that on one hand, you're saying that being able to live in this moment is what's helping people and what can help people who are struggling. But it also seems to be the lesson that the universe is trying to teach us. Because if you think about like, gosh, we've been in quarantine for 2 months, or how much longer is it going to be? That's really difficult. But typically the moment you're in, you're okay, depending on, of course, except for people who are struggling with their health. But, and so it's really teaching you like, each day really is okay. I mean, it's getting monotonous, but the moment that you're in, if you can connect to it, you can feel that everything is the way it should be in this moment.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think, you know, again, I wrestled a lot with, and this is like month 2, so now we're in month 3, like you said. Month 2, I was like, well, should I be planning like for this thing to go on for, you know, 6 months, a year? I mean, or should I be planning for maybe it's going to end in a few weeks, you know, and things are going to start to move back toward, and we don't know the answer to that question. And I would venture to say, I'm not even sure we want to go back to exactly what was. I mean, we want to get back to it. We know that it's familiar, it's comfortable for us. But again, this is an opportunity to create something different and something new. So in this time, I'm like, this is it. This is it right now. So how am I going to be? What am I going to do? Yeah, I have to shift my, you know, income producing time. I have to shift the way I connect with others. I have to do a lot of things differently than I'm used to. But I feel much more comforted when I can say, okay, I'm embracing this.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's similar to you. I feel like in the beginning, I was feeling like we were just waiting and in a holding pattern until life was going to begin again. And, you know, almost that there was nothing that you had to do. You just were waiting until things could get back to normal. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait, this is going on longer than I thought. So if I look at it that way, this is my life that I'm just putting on hold. And I think that really helped also to realize exactly what we're talking about, that you really only have this moment. And how often in life do we say, like, you know, I'll be okay when I get the promotion, or when this happens, or when I am in a romantic relationship, or instead of living with what we have right now.
Exactly.
So it was like, I guess about 7, maybe 8 years ago, I staggered. I mean, I literally staggered into the home yoga studio, right? And Ben and his sidekick Gina were there, 2 coaches who were trying to take a gruffy, kind of hard-nosed football, basketball coach and turn him into an evolved gentleman. One of the most challenging decisions that he ever did was decide to take me into his tribe. So the quote that led off the session was one from the great, and I know you're going to catch me on this, Anais Nin. And the quote was this: "And the day came where the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Can I say it one more time? And the day came where the actual risk to remain tight, closed down in a bud, became more painful than the actual risk it took to blossom. And you led off the pregame speech with that. Had people jumping up and down. We want to blossom. So why did you pick that quote? What did it mean to you personally? And expound on it a touch.
Yeah, well, that is one of my favorite sayings. I mean, it's so apropos. You know, we resist change. We shut ourselves down when we get afraid, and we become, rather than becoming resilient, we become contracted and cut ourselves off. So this picture of, you know, this being in this bud, tight, held up, protected, armored, shielded from the world, it's nice. It works for a while, but there comes a time when that contraction, that being cut off, is actually preventing you from experiencing life in the qualities and the beauty in Sanskrit, the Shri of life, when you're covered, when you're armored, when you have this protective layer around you. It requires removing those bricks one at a time, taking that wall down. Like when we're kids, when we're young, we have to build the walls because it's not safe. We stay with our parents, we stay with our protectors, but when we get older, that same wall is actually preventing us. And there comes a time when you've got to remove the wall, remove the boundary, and fly out of the nest and be willing to take a chance that, yeah, you might crash, but you might take off and be able to see the world and experience life in a really, really beautiful and sweet way.
Yeah, love it. Jocelyn, want to finish up? She's like, have you ever been to a Broadway show? Like, isn't the best stuff at the end? Like they say it, like, I mean, there can't be even anything more than this. So we always put her in. She's like the number 4 hitter, but she's always got this insightful final message that's incredible that people are like, we can't stop watching it because they're waiting for this final question. So Jocelyn, get ready, Ben. This is like you're going to be nuts.
I mean, to be honest, I had no question in mind. Now that you're saying all that, I have
statement.
even less of no question in mind.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
What's that?
That's a lot of pressure he's putting on
A
you.
lot of pressure, and it just happened to not have been true. So, but let me think. Well, it was funny because a quote that I had written down really says what your original quote said about it's not about how far you go. And, you know, when you think about it, so many inspirational quotes are really that message. But it was just, you are always being presented with two choices, evolve or repeat. So does that bring up anything for you? Although I know it's the same, but it's said a little differently.
You know what? People, I hear that all the time. Oh, you know, that you're saying the same thing that this, I said, you know what? We can't hear it enough. Say it 1,000 different ways because people take it in differently, including me. It's like, you might say it one way, Jim will say it a different way. The more different ways that we can hear that, I don't know, that idea, probably the greater chance we'll have of living it and really embodying that teaching, which is every situation is an opportunity to learn something and grow from it, and then therefore experience life even more fully and more fully. So
yeah, we used to go to Van Dyke's ice cream store. You been there much? So you go to Van Dyke's, and their most popular flavor was what? Like I think it was peppermint
Chocolate?
stick. No, peppermint stick.
Oh.
And they put the little things up there. They give you like a little taste, and you go like, "Give me a gallon." So we had a little taste of Ben Wisch today, and anybody that's heard you speak moved up in their seat like this because you have that beautiful blend of true authenticity, courage, and it's just sprinkled with the love that you've given so many people. Ben, you've literally changed lives, you know it, through not the hard, not the you can do it stuff, but you've moved in there beautifully to have people have the ability to see what might be inside of them that they might not have found. So from this whole community, tell us quick, where are you teaching? And if I want to take a virtual class with the great Ben Yoga, how do I do that?
okay, so everything's listed on my website. Well, one of my websites is benwishyoga.com. I teach on Zoom Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And then on Thursdays at 5:00 p.m., I'm offering a free Facebook Live class. And I just started that last night. So that's going to be ongoing, a 60-minute practice I'm offering out to the community for anybody who's interested in doing an all levels practice, 5 to 6 o'clock, late Thursday afternoon.
Right. What color are your pajamas, Ben?
I have gray pants, no top.
Gray trousers?
Yeah.
And your favorite yoga pose?
Tree pose.
Tree. And blondes, brunettes, or redheads? It's a setup.
I gotta say, well, right now Denise she's a little of both, blonde and brunette. So whatever she's wearing, that's my favorite.
You're the man, Ben. We thank you so much for your time, for your just incredible words. Like they just ring. They're like I know you're a great singer, but you sing when you speak.
It was fun. Thanks for including me and letting me share with you guys and what you're offering out there. It's wonderful.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Take care, Ben.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah.